It's a swan song for one of the best-selling series of novels as Jeffrey Archer's William Warwick series reaches its endgame. The book takes place at London during the 2012 Olympic Games, and it expertly mixes fact and fiction for a deadly cat-and-mouse game with potentially severe outcomes. The author, Jeffrey Archer, legendary author, joins us live here on CB24 Breakfast this morning. Jeffrey, good to speak to you about this Endgame novel here. The way you weave the fact and fiction, I wonder if over your career of writing, the way the world has changed. You may have thought, 20, 30 years ago, I couldn't possibly write this. Nobody would believe it. But now the way things have evolved, that almost anything you can kind of come up with, I couldn't tell what was fact and what was fiction in some cases.
Yes, you're right. And I was shocked, I must admit, when I realized that William Warwick in 2012 would be 52 years old. Ideal job for him to be in charge of security at the Olympic Games. So I flew over to Monaco to see Sebastian Coe and asked him what went wrong, because we all saw it as such a great triumph. And he said, I can't tell you. The one man who can tell you is Commander Bob Broadhurst, who was in charge of security. So I flew back to London, saw the commander, and he said 14 things went wrong, and 2 of them could have closed the games. So I then thought it'd be fun to put his 14 things in the book and add 7 from my own imagination and ask the reader at the end, which do you believe is real and which do you believe I invented? And Sebastian Coe got 19 out of 21. See how you do.
Okay, I'm going to take the quiz when I finish up. I'm about 85% of the way through it at this point, so I'll have to take that quiz. But it is remarkable, and you do list, the people that you spoke to sort of help you get the insight into this book, because, I mean, it was so high profile. We saw so much unfold in the 2012 games. You described the opening ceremonies, the Queen and James Bond, etc. All of what happened there, and the high anxiety behind the scenes as well. Without the input from Seb Coe and the commander of the games, do you think you could have put this book together like that?
No, that's a very fair question. It came as a shock. I expected the commander to tell me a couple of things, and they wouldn't be of great significance. Like, for example, I already knew that in the match between South Korea and North Korea and Portugal in the women's football, they played the South Korean anthem, and Seb Coe had to apologize. What I couldn't have anticipated is he would have told me 2 things. One would have closed the opening ceremony, and the second, they would have had to clear the stadium of 60,000 people.
Yeah, that chapter in particular is pretty dramatic indeed, at the opening ceremony, the blackout, etc. Let's talk about William Warwick. Obviously, he's a fictional person, but you've obviously developed kind of a relationship, having written him for so many years. What's it like now, sort of putting the pen down on that character that you've written so much about, that we've all read so much?
Always a strange feeling, as it was at the end of the Clifton Chronicles, and now is at the end of the William Warwick series. Now that he's come to the end, the 8th of 8 books, and I am 85 years old, so I have to decide what to do next.
So fans are wondering, Jeffrey, could there be some more work from you? I mean, you are so prolific. You've written so many books, and you can go deep on the internet on your style, how you write your books, your manuscripts, where you travel, etc. Like, is there more coming? I realize you're 85, but you're a great writer.
It's very kind. I had an idea 3 or 4 years ago when I read a speech by Adolf Hitler and realized that his speeches weren't all just shouting and screaming, but in them often was some actual hard facts. I also read the counter speech by Winston Churchill in the House of Commons and realized something happened on September the 15th, 1941. Which had never been dealt with in fiction, in non-fiction, by some very distinguished writers. And I thought, wow, this is bigger than Cain and Abel.
Wow. Well, that's quite a tease, and we'll look forward to that then. Okay, Jeffrey Archer, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for joining us here on CB24 Breakfast. And like I said, I'm about 15% to go on Endgame, but can't wait to get to the end. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Lovely to come on the show.
Yeah, pleasure to chat with you.
May I just say, forgive me for taking time not allocated. Your rugby team, your women's rugby team on Saturday were wonderful.
Thank you.
And it was a damn good match.
Yeah, there was a lot of Canadian pride about that, absolutely. But of course, the Brits, absolutely dominant. But thank you so much for saying that. That's a real treat. I appreciate that.